Good afternoon, everybody. அனைவருக்கும் காலை வணக்கம். எனக்கு காலையில தான் இது. I surface around this time recently. The reason is I've been making this film, Puttagam, for the past 7-8 months, and my days become night and my nights become day. So I've been working around the clock, and around noon is when I keep surfacing. So it's become a custom for me to wish you all a good morning around noon. Ladies and gentlemen, you must have seen me as a television artist. Many of you must have got bored seeing me on television. There was a time on television when I used to come on television even after you switched off the television. That was how omnipresent I was. But then at some point of time, I guess after 20 years of working in television, I decided to call it a day and said, I'm not going to be acting anymore. And I was looking for other pastures to explore. And that's when I decided that I will direct my first film. And I'm ready with it. Today on this forum, I'd like to thank the college management of PSNA for inviting me here. It's always great to meet young minds, get ignited by them. I'm a great follower of the great Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam. His speeches are very inspirational. I don't miss it whenever I get a chance to actually be there. So it's always fantastic when I meet a crowd full of youngsters and a lot of intellectuals, as I see in the crowd. It's always a humbling experience for a media personality to come in and experience something out of the box. To talk about management techniques, to talk about stuff which I did a long time back is always a pleasure. In my introduction, they did say that I did my MBA at LIBA. That was a long time back. That was probably one of the first batches of LIBA. That was the Loyola Institute of Business Administration in Chennai. Way back in 92 to 95 when I first started my career, not only as an actor on stage and in television and films, I was also a sales representative in the Indian Express. I used to sell space. From selling space to selling time on television and finally being on television. It's been a wonderful journey for me. And today I find myself competing with the best of best in terms of talent in films. TEDx is a wonderful platform where we talk about technology, entertainment, and that's one reason I guess Prabhu decided that I should be here. So here I am going to be talking to you about what this entertainment industry is, how big it is, what are the loopholes in it, and I would also be open to questions in this short 20 minutes that are provided to me. First, let me take you through a few cliches of the media. Generally, media, a lot of people in the educated family backgrounds think of media as something which cinema industry. No, it's not true. It's absolutely not true. Because today's technology is so fast developing. The cameras that I shoot today are outdated tomorrow. For example, I shot on a camera called the Sony F65. This is the first film in the world to have been shot on this camera. It is one of Sony's best technological developments as far as a movie camera is concerned. How many of you are familiar with the process of movie making? Any bit of technology? Cameras na enna theriyalaya. When you watch a film, do you know what technology it is? When you go to a theater nowadays, digital appadinuvanga. What is digital cinema? We talk about 2K resolution, we talk about 4K, then you talk about 5, you talk about 8 megapixels camera, 9 megapixels, now it's gone to 12, 15 and all that stuff. Your basic film, the பழைய film irukklingla, film rolls la shoot பண்றது. That is of 2K resolution. Now the cameras are up to 8K resolution. 2K has its limitations. You would necessarily have to take it to the lab, process it, and once the process is done, then something called color correction is done. And that's when you see the original colors on the screen. Now with the camera that I shot, which is a Sony F65, it's an amazing camera. If suppose I were to shoot somebody in a red sari, and on screen when I at the edit table go through the entire scene and said, no, red is actually looking bad on this, this camera has the possibility of changing the color of the sari on the spot. So technology is so fast developing. And we had a wonderful time shooting this. Usually when you take a photograph and when you're standing in front and there's a lot of light behind and it's not clear, you would take the person to the shade and put him there so that the background doesn't bleach. And here is a camera that I shot on, where it cuts the bleach and increases the foreground clarity so that the object, subject and the transitional images behind are of the same quality. So we are headed into an era of complete digitization. We were talking about 5.1 Dolby Sound Stereo Theater appadinu or advertisement irukum. Forget 5.1, guys. Vishwarupam is coming in 13.1, which is probably the sound that even if, one were to bite his nails, andha satham kuda ungalku kekkum. You were talking about multi-track. Today it is unidimensional. Your 13.1 is as good as your human ear. Your human ear can even hear the sound of footsteps. So that's where we are heading. The technology in films is amazing. Today in India, we are at a very nascent stage. We have two great divisions in the media industry. One is films and one is television. Films gather a revenue of 4,500 crores annually, all across India, all languages put together, out of which the South Indian cinema alone contributes close to about 2,000 crores, and the rest comes from Bollywood, and a fair fraction of it comes from Bengali cinema. 13,000 crores is the revenue generated by television, out of which 7,000 crores is from South Indian channels, out of which 5,000 crores is from Tamil alone. This is just the tip of the iceberg, because media today has a projection to jump by 2016 to being a 30,000 crore industry by itself. Media offers great opportunities. Today you have a movie called Kochadayan that's being made. Check. Yeah. Can you hear me? Check. I hate being confined to Check, yeah. So as I said, I hate being confined to one place because I don't have slides to show, and it's all here. I didn't have time to prepare. I wanted to show you a lot of interesting things. Probably the next time around, I will come in with a lot of material and I can share a lot of wonderful things that have been happening. Recently, there was this FICCI seminar that was held by Kamal Hassan, of which he is the chairman, and a lot of management graduates turned up. I did go for one of the sessions. It's wonderful today because no longer is media out of bounds or is it considered an outcast. There are tremendous opportunities. The Indian animation industry, ladies and gentlemen, is worth about 4,000 crores alone. Just 4,000 crores now. But it's expected to bounce to almost about 20,000 crores in the next 2-3 years. You have a film called Skyfall that is releasing. The latest James Bond film. 75% of the graphics that have been used in Skyfall comes from Bengaluru. 400 technicians work day and night to create those images. But they were sourced from various companies. So the job outsourcing, digital animation, India is one of the leading suppliers to Hollywood. Avatar was also one of the films that had their complete animation work outsourced to almost all parts of India. There was a bit that was happening in Kolkata, there was a bit that was happening in Bangalore, there was a lot of it happening in Perungudi in Chennai. So that's where we are headed. The animation industry is into big time boom. We're talking about Kocharyan, I just mentioned Kocharyan. Motion capture. It's going to be surreal. What you saw in Avatar was coming together of the real and the surreal. What is surreal? Surreal is something which is as good as alive. As good as alive means capturing somebody on whole and recreating it as it was, as it were, as it could be. So it's an amazing industry to be in media. Today we are in a very exciting phase, and very rightly said, I think one speaker before said, this is the generation which has got probably all avenues to explore. I wish we had the platform about 20 years back, probably when I had just stepped out of college and I had known or I had got such an exposure. But our exposure was limited. But today you guys are in a very gifted phase of development. Media is something that you people can seriously take a look at. I'm sure padam paakadavanga yarume irukka maatanga inga. Tell me one person who hates cinema. I love this. Wonderful. Because today, at the end of the day, when you go back home and you sit down, you want to relax, you switch on the television screen where you find people like me. That's free entertainment. Or when you want good cinema and fantastic stuff, you go to the theater for a good ambience. Now I was talking about 13.1 sound. I was talking about 5.1, which is outdated. There's something in between called 7.1. That's where my film is coming in. 7.1. What is 7.1? What is 5.1? These are all, that is sound. Sound again by itself is so important for a film. Now, ஒரு படத்தை வந்து நார்மலா எடுக்கறாங்க, 2D ல எடுக்கறாங்க. 2D is two-dimensional, that is what you see, but they can convert the entire film into 3D. That's what has happened to a film called Shivaji right now, which Rajinikanth had released about 3 years back. The process is exciting. The platform is stupendous. The opportunities are a million. The media today is at a very exciting threshold. As I said, 30,000 crores of an industry. I was just having a conversation with two of my friends I just met this morning. Two gentlemen from two diverse industries who were asking me about a few questions about the media. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to actually interact with them and to tell them that, you know, for some time when you meet somebody from outside the industry and somebody asks you questions about the industry, you're quite excited because nobody asks you that when you're there. Nobody asks you, you know, we are seen as primarily entertainers. எங்களை கூத்தாடியார் மட்டும்தான் பார்ப்பாங்க. ஆனா இந்த இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில் எத்தனை ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி இருக்குங்கிறது இப்போ ஒரு அளவுக்கு உங்களுக்கு புரிஞ்சிருக்கும். Graphic artists, animation artists, boys, girls, there is opportunities galore out here. If you have the bent of mind to go for it, media is the place to be. I'm not here to propagate media, but I'm also here to say that it's not bad after all. There are huge companies, huge investments coming into India. Foxstar is setting up one of its biggest ever animation studios in Bangalore. So this is the kind of investment that is coming into the country in terms of the entertainment industry. Columbia Pictures is buying heavily into local companies. Yash Raj Films is entering into a tie-up with TriStar Pictures very soon. Nearly 40% of their stake is going to be picked up by them. So you have suddenly a lot of awareness about India, about Indian films, about the Indian platform, about the technicians available out here. With absolutely minimum technology at our disposal, we've made some wonderful films in the past. But today, we're all there, almost there in terms of technology. A lot of Indian cameramen are being asked by Hollywood to anchor their camera. Ravi K. Chandran is very soon doing a huge Hollywood film. He's been picked up as the singularly best cinematographer from this part of the world. What I'm here to say is to excite young minds like you, to say that, hey, media is after all not a bad place to be in. So if in case you guys, as management, what does management have to do with media, you might ask? Well, I'm doing, personal management, I'm doing financial management, I'm doing advertising. How do I get into the media? There are opportunities. If you take the film industry, it's all again about HR management here. It's all about HR management. When you go to a big time company like an Ashok Leyland or a FedEx, so it's the same. It's coming together of skilled and unskilled people together. To manage that, you need a lot of skills. Today, corporatization of the film industry is at a very nascent stage. The Hollywood studios kind of setup is there right at the doorstep. I call it the most disorganizedly organized industry. For the simple reason that when I just did this film, it was amazing for me, for a person who's been in front of the camera all these years, when I stepped behind the camera, to see how difficult it was to actually call the shots. I was managing so many egos. And I realized how big I had one when I was an actor. It's bringing together so many people for a common purpose. It's a one-man dream that all these people set to accomplish, both skilled and unskilled. There are 24 crafts that go into making a film. அந்த 24 கிராஃப்ட் என்னன்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா முதல்ல உங்களுக்கு சிரிப்பு வரும். 10 பாத்திரம் தேய்க்கிற அந்த அம்மால இருந்து லைட் ஸ்டாண்ட கொண்டு வந்து இறக்குற அந்த லைட் மேன் வரைக்கும். They're all crafts without which cinema can't be made. If suppose I shoot at a location, I dump all the stuff that I ate and leave, the person is never going to give the location again for shooting. So you need that lady to clean, to leave the place again spick and span. So it starts right from there. So your HR comes in there, guys. You need a good HR manager. Who is the production manager de facto there to take care of all this? Today, a lot of it happens at the pre-production stages. In Hindi cinema, not one film today gets made without a bound script. This script is then passed on to a finance team which goes through it. The director has to prepare a complete project with the scenes, with the location, with the equipment breakdown, with the cost, with the call sheets. What is a call sheet? A call sheet is your time at work. It's like your shifts in factories. We have a shift that starts at 7 in the morning and goes to 6 in the evening, which is one call sheet. And the next shift starts at 6 in the evening and goes on till 2 in the night, which is the second shift. There are days when makers like Mani Ratnam have shot 16 shifts at a go without a break. That's because there might be so many constraints in terms of location, in terms of equipment, in terms of artists not giving dates. Now, I told you about the file going to the finance place. That's where a lot of graduates, financial graduates, who are doing courses specific to filmmaking. Symbiosis is one of the universities which offers specialized course on filmmaking, film management. Film management is going to be the next big thing, because I think it's time that the industry woke up to some scientific planning, to some scientific execution. அந்த காலம்லாம் போச்சு. மஞ்சப்பையோட ஒரு ப்ரொடியூசர் வந்தாரு, இன்னொருத்தர் வந்து வாங்க சார் படம் எடுக்கலாம், கிராமத்து மண் வாசனையோட. Gone. We are in an age where we've moved on. Today, by the time the first half is over, or rather in the second reel of the film, you have a tweet going out, Macham padam mokka. Disaster for the producers. So this entire industry today is very fickle but volatile, at the same time exciting. It's an industry which is driven by sheer passion, sheer creativity. So if you think you guys have a bit of creativity and have a bit of passion, well, entertainment is the place to be in. Give it a thought, if in case you're interested. Because media, after all, is not a bad place to be in. It provides you one thing which other people do not. It provides you name, fame, and a lot of money. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this opportunity. I hope it has been a bit of a mind opener for you to look at media as a wonderful platform for a career.